All right, good morning. It is January 16th, 2025, 10:03 a.m. We are meeting with PBA for a continued bargaining session. My name is Nikki Pound, the HR Director.
Wes Moreno, County Administrator.
Bruce Powell, Chief of Corrections.
Janice Floyd, Deputy Director HR.
Charles Snow, Road Crew Commander.
Jason Santos, Sergeant at the Road Prison.
Johnny Thompson, PBA.
Sergeant Lonnie Wilson, Road Prison.
Officer David Holland, Road Prison.
I think you guys already have these. I've emailed a couple of times, but this is the everything except for 13 and 17 in there. And those are all the ones I think we discussed and pretty much have TAs on. So if you guys want to caucus or anything, that's fine. And then 13 and 17 for discussion.
Okay.
So 13, I believe, and I don't have an opinion, I just gave you my copy. Let me pull it up real quick. Sorry about that. I noticed you guys didn't bring it with you, so. So I emailed these to Chase back in October, I believe it was. He actually called me a couple weeks ago, reference 13 and 17, asking if we would essentially come to the table with something different than what I emailed. So on 13, you'll see, essentially we reverted back all the language on 13 from our previous proposal, but we maintained the provision that you guys asked for in J, which is the 750 hours of sick leave to be able to convert some over. Then in 1309, that's just some cleanup to the language of how the practice is actually done for the holiday pay. And 1310 was agreed upon language.
Nikki, so I'll know if this is agreed upon, we get this done for that. Is UKG already able to do this?
For
Is this a
13?
manual, yeah, is this a manual option or?
13, there's really, this is
I'm just-
most,
I'm asking
13's
for
all
our-
cleanup.
that's
It's
fine.
all cleanup,
Okay.
it's the way it's already done.
Okay. I was talking about the conversion, I'm sorry. Is there anything?
Oh, that would be manual.
It's fine.
Manual, yes, I'm sorry.
I just need to know that.
Yeah, they'll have to,
Okay.
yeah.
I noticed there was a underlined section in 1305 for funeral leave, adding.
That was your request?
Okay, you're
Yeah.
all good with
Yeah. The number of days on the funeral leave is capped regardless, so
Right.
that's kind of, you know what, one half dozen or the other.
that. Okay, we'll take a minute to look at that, but if we want to run through 17.
So then 17, get back to 17. 17 maintains the provision of the DOR, however, in allowing the DOR, we do need to take the FLSA into consideration. So our previous proposal was to do a 2-week cycle with the 85-75 and no DOR. Chase, when he called, asked for a proposal that maintained the DOR. This does maintain the DOR, but it does the 28-day cycle with the overtime after 160, which means you have to work the 160. That's where you earn the DOR, and then overtime is after 160.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of how the intent of the DOR, and that's how the intent of the DOR was. I know in the past it's kind of just been willy-nilly, bringing it, cleaning it back up to maintain the DOR, and then you're going to follow the FLSA, which is the 28-day cycle. You have to do the 160, which is where you earn the DOR, and then the overtime is after 160, so that we can ensure everyone is actually being paid properly if you maintain the DOR.
We'll take a minute to talk. So
Yeah, that's fine.
And was there any updates to any of the appendix? Because I know that there was across the board cost living adjustments.
Do you have the appendix or did I hand them to you? Look at the last page, I'm sorry. So there was no changes, it's just incorporating the most recent MOU, MOA that we did for wages.
There's a appendix we can see. Sorry.
I gave them my copy, so you have your copy.
Yes, we have B and C.
Yeah, you got B and C. A, you guys have to provide, because that's the juice deduction.
Right. And we'll go ahead and take a bit of caucus, if you don't mind.
Okay. Turn off the recorder and I'll read this. All right, we are back from caucus.
I don't believe we have any questions about Article 13.
Okay.
That seems to be kind of in line with what we were talking about previously. As far as Article 17 goes, in terms of kind of how that would play out or how that would work, like if somebody were to take comp time, because I know we're talking about consecutive days, hours worked, and the maintaining of the DOR. If you could walk me through kind of how that would work in terms of somebody taking a day of annual leave during that pay period or a day of comp time that they.
So they would have to do 12.25 in order to earn the time towards the DOR. And that, so when the jail was under the sheriff's office, and I can go back to that time period, that's essentially how it was done. And then the overtime was paid at the end of the 28-day cycle, so that everything was done in accordance with the law, basically. So when we shifted over to, and I can't speak for the road prison, I was never really involved until we shifted over to the county, and the contracts kind of merged together. I believe that the day of rest just kind of got lost in the transition, so we're just trying to bring it back, that if we're gonna maintain it, instead of paying 4 hours worked, if we're gonna maintain it, we're gonna do it back in accordance with law, so we can make sure 100% that everybody is being paid properly.
So with the leave, I'm just trying to clarify this, so we have to take 12.5
2.5.
hours of annual if we take a day.
Annual sick, comp,
Okay, yes,
holiday,
ma'am.
whatever it is.
Thank you.
Because those 0.25 hours go and count towards the DOR. I have a calculation, just on a little spreadsheet that I can show you guys if you want to walk it over there. But it ultimately shows how those hours add up. And those hours actually only add up to 159.25 for fiscal hours worked. So then that's where then the overtime doesn't apply till after 160. The 28-day cycle for FLSA is 171. This, because there's a DOR inclusive, is if you physically work the hours, you would have worked, what's 159 plus 12, you would have worked the 170 something. Not physically working the hours, you work the 159. You physically work 159.25 with those, some of those hours being applied to get it basically paid for an 8-hour DOR.
So that's just that overtime that you're speaking of only is the DOR is what you're talking about.
So the DOR is you'll work 159.25 hours. You earn a DOR working
Yes.
that number of hours. So then after the 160, all in 128-day cycle, after 160 is when overtime applies.
So on
And
the,
overtime doesn't apply to non-working hours. So if you do take a day of leave in there, that time does count towards your DOR, but not towards your overtime.
yes, that's how we always been
Yeah.
doing it. I mean, that's how I understood it. But it says here, like, as far as the 12-hour shifts, shall be worked in excess of normal scheduled work hours. So if I don't even take, I just want to clarify so I know, because I know I'm going to get 1,000 questions.
Yeah.
So if I take one DOR on that 28-day cycle, just the DOR, I didn't take any day with or anything like that, and I work overtime, I still get, that overtime only counts for that pay period, correct?
For the
24.
28-day cycle.
Here it
For the
says, huh? For the month.
For the 28 days.
Yeah.
So if I take,
It ain't on the front side, it's on the back side.
So it's in excess of your work period. Your work period is defined as a 28-day cycle.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, I think you'd be ready to TA off on everything other than 17, and for now, I think Article 17 we may return with the status quo.
It is costing us, not just man hours, a lot of money. All right, with the staffing coming up, it's kind of what I kind of alluded to earlier. With the staffing coming up, the availability for shifts, availability for overtime is going to dwindle very, very quickly. On top of the cost that it's costing us to backfill for that DOR, because it's not just a random guy off today. It's a random guy off that I got to now authorize somebody to fill that hole because we're not at maximum staffing. Even if then, we'd still be backfilling that post because it's a post that has to be seated. So it's not just costing us that, it's costing us the overtime to fill that vacancy as well. When they're off, when they're, by the Manning report, they're supposed to be at work. I would rather just go to actual hours work, be paid for compensated as you work, and then set the overtime rate at 85.7, 86 hours, paid to 85.75 and paid, because it is costing us a drastic lot of money to give that overtime or give that DOR. Because not only
75 defines it as like a 2-week work
right,
period.
go to a 2-week because there's a lot of people that could work overtime this pay period, not the next, and that's where the 28 cycle becomes kind of counterproductive for some folks. And I can't negotiate for you guys. I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand FLSA and what actual hours work means in both cycles, because we've got to get it right. I mean, there's been a lot of money spent to accommodate. We had to make Manning, I get that. Everybody had to make Manning. And we want to create the most safe environment we can. That's why we put the incentive and do the recruitment and everything. But my concern is a little bit of short-sightedness on some folks, maybe to not understand the complexity of what we need to fix. So as you guys take a look at this, FLSA actual hours worked is where I would be focused at, to understand what that truly means and how it impacts the staff. Again, I'm not telling you how to negotiate or how to manage your PBA members. I'm just saying from a management perspective, I know what it has cost the county to get where we're at, and we can't continue. We just can't. Being paid there's a lot of things we got to do on the management side to clean up some things. And the staffing increasing is going to help us clean that up as well. So I just really encourage you to take a deep dive into FLSA for actual hours worked, because I think that's the biggest benefit to staff. And get paid for the hours they work.
No, and we definitely appreciate your position, Chief. This is something that's, as part of the contract, it's something that's discussed every year in reopeners, as it pertains to what's being paid and the benefit conferred by how this is set up right now. I think this is a step in the right direction, something that we can work towards. But as of right now, as it's written, we would be standing on status quo, at least until we discuss it in reopeners.
If you want to TA what I've given you, other than 17, we can just leave Article 17 open for now, because I don't think we're going to agree to the current status quo. We want to make sure that, and if you want to take it back and discuss with your membership further, because we need to do this right, and it's not been done correctly. The officers are not earning it. They're not, they're just basically, we're giving away time. They're not earning that DOR time that they should be earning. And like I said, the calculation, the system is doing some of the calculation for us. The UKG timekeeping system is doing some of that calculation for us. But really, you can't even apply it to a 2-week cycle. If you're going to keep a DOR, it has to be on a 28-day cycle. It has to be processed on a 28-day cycle. So that, because otherwise, in that second pay period, if you're going to pay it correctly, you're going to be taking money back from people or adding additional monies. If you keep it on the status quo?
So we initially proposed something that would do away with DOR, and it did come with, you know, an increase in salary, but our understanding is that the county did not want to move on salaries or was unable
We're
to
not getting
move on
rid of the
salaries.
DOR. We're
Right,
not getting rid
so-
of the DOR, we're moving to making sure that it is compensated and tracked accordingly.
Right, and in some cases, for some individuals, this would be in effect doing away with the benefit of the DOR that they receive. Now, we can take this back and discuss it with our membership, and we can set another date for this, TA off on everything except for 17. But this is something that it is in contract, and it has been in place for a while now, and we do need to have a serious discussion about it. We understand there's something that does need to be fixed, and we understand the position that the county is in.
And what's in the contract is just the parties agree to maintain the day of rest. And the day of rest is not defined, it's not defined in the contract, there's no standard operating procedure for it. I have the standard operating procedure from Commander Whitlock, who was the commander when the jail came over way, way, way long time ago. That's how it was processed initially under, at some point, and then the contract was renegotiated with a little bit different language that maintained the DOR, but then changed the work periods. So we're going back to the correct work period for a corrections facility, which is a 40-hour for 8 and 10, and then a 28-day cycle for a 12-hour. Or you can go to the 2-week work period, which is the 85-75, or even if you do a 40-hour,
Or you just go to a 40-hour.
40-hour for everybody, and then anything over 40 in the week is overtime.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and have a discussion about that.
Okay.
Again, the question isn't whether or not this is something that we can fix today or in terms of our path forward. But we can TA off on everything else for now. Okay.
If you've got, you want to sign off on them?
Chris also put your TA on, just keep in mind also, you go to a 2-week pay cycle, you get 5.75 hours, 5.75 hours back in every officer's paycheck, twice a month. Money they're not earning right now.
So, Nikki, if you could, I know you said you had some data that you were looking at in terms of how the pay would be different based off of the different schedules that have been proposed. If you could provide that to us,
Sure.
how that might play out for the membership.
Yeah.
That may be helpful in terms of coming to a decision as to what we can ratify. Because again, it has to be the membership.
I got it. That's why we're having conversations.
And the more information you guys can provide us, the better. Thank you.
You know, just worried about staff that growing accustomed to being paid at the rate that they're being paid, which isn't a guaranteed pay with staffing going up, ability for overtime going down.
Get that chip.
Right, it's stand.
Right.
The stand.
See, I emailed them ahead of time, and they're prepared.
So, a signature block would be helpful as well, so I don't have to write my titles either. It's okay.
$11.95 and get a stamp letter.
Yeah. Should ask the attorney if that's legally acceptable. Is it wet signature, stamp?
I don't know about signature, what your signature block is.
Status quo.
You have a coffee cup? Did you get free coffee when you come to meetings? No, sir, I don't get that luxury. I use big coffee cups to break them. Well, generally I go in there and aggravate Miss Tina or Jenny and get me a cup. But they weren't in this morning when I come in. Yes.
Yeah, there are coffee drinkers. I don't think you know. You wouldn't know no more? You didn't look? So you didn't look?
Coffee station?
No?
It's behind the locked door.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
No, we got a couple options, let's just open it up next time. Change the lock, they won't know.
I may just go see one of the HR ladies, I know she got a good.
I think we gave you a coffee cup, didn't we? As one of the trees one year, you think it?
Oh, yes, sir. You
He
know,
wants
so-
coffee, but not coffee.
Yeah. He wants a cup too.
Plenty of coffee at that supervisor training.
Change the name from Lonnie to Freddie. Change the name from Lonnie to Freddie. Oh, really? Freddie Freeloader.
At least that freeloader would give a shirt off your back. You don't want to do that either.
I don't think you know, that'd be a sweater.
Yeah, a sweater right off the bat.
Still a uniform.
Sweater. All he needs to do is put his name and star, and it'll make no difference. It's like closing on a mortgage, huh?
That's the storm before, the
Let's
cold.
go for the storm.
The cold before the storm right there. That's mud.
I believe we need to do the dance part.
Who hooked you up?
Don't snitch.
I was just gonna say, a couple of my ladies.
Okay.
You had to go see HR.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did you want me to sign off on this?
No.
Okay.
Alright, what I'll do is I will get, Mr. Moreno to sign all of these. I will scan them to you, so you have your copies with his signature. I'll send you some analysis on 17th, and then we'll schedule another date.
Wait, perfect.
Thank you guys. Turn off the recorder.